The great crystal ships of the Vorthok Empire hung in space like frozen stars. Each one was the size of a city, built from living crystal that could think and feel. The Vorthok had ruled this part of the galaxy for over 10,000 years. Their technology was so advanced that they could create matter from pure thought. Their wisdom was older than most civilizations. In the energy fields of the Nexari Collective, beings of pure light danced between dimensions. They had no physical form, existing as patterns of electricity and consciousness. The Nexari could travel faster than light by becoming light itself. They viewed physical matter as crude and primitive. Deep in the hive worlds of the Chromath, 1 trillion insect-like creatures moved as one mind. The Chromath Queen could think with the power of entire worlds. Her children built structures that spanned star systems, all working together in perfect harmony. They had achieved what most species only dreamed of: total unity. These three great powers had divided the galaxy between them. For millions of years, they had maintained perfect order. Wars were rare. Each species knew its place. The galaxy was peaceful, stable, and utterly predictable. Then the humans came. Commander Hyan Wu stood on the bridge of the colony ship New Hope, watching the blue-green world of Kepler-4 for to be grow larger on the screen. Behind him, 50,000 humans slept in cold storage, dreaming of their new home. The ship was crude compared to alien technology, powered by fusion reactors and chemical rockets, but it had crossed 27 light-years to reach this place. Beginning orbital approach, reported his daughter Soyoung from the engineering station. At 28, she was the youngest chief engineer in the colonial fleet. Her fingers danced across controls that were held together with spare parts and human stubbornness. All systems green, Dad. Hyan Wu smiled. The aliens thought humans were primitive because they used metal and electricity instead of crystal and thought. They were wrong. Human technology might be simple, but it worked. More importantly, humans could fix it with whatever they had on hand. Timon, take us down, Hyan Wu ordered his son. The young pilot was only 25, but he could fly anything with engines. He had that special talent that made him one with his ship. Copy that, Commander, Timon replied, his hands steady on the controls. The colony ship began its descent through the atmosphere. Landing site looks perfect. Good water, fertile soil, and no signs of intelligent life. The landing was rough, but successful. Within hours, humans were streaming out of the ship, setting up temporary shelters and survey equipment. They moved with the organized chaos that marked their species. Everyone seemed to be doing something different, but somehow it all worked together. The Vorthok noticed them first. Lord Kethfer, a crystal being older than human civilization, observed the new arrivals with mild interest. The Theomans were setting up their colony with remarkable speed, but their technology was laughably primitive. They used explosives to clear rocks instead of matter manipulation. They built with metal and concrete instead of living crystal. Curious, Kethfer noted to his subordinates. They appeared to be establishing a permanent settlement. How long do you estimate before they achieve proper civilization? Several thousand years, Lord, came the reply. Perhaps longer. They still burn chemicals for energy. Kethfer dismissed the humans from his thoughts. They were too primitive to matter. The Nexari Collective took longer to notice. As beings of pure energy, they had little interest in the physical world. But when they finally observed the human colony, their reaction was one of disgust. They contaminate everything they touch, pulsed the Nexari leader, Zantar. Look how they introduce foreign species to this world. Okay, they bring plants and animals from their home planet, disrupting the natural order. The Nexari preferred sterile, ordered environments. They found the chaotic human approach to terraforming disturbing. Where other species would carefully maintain existing ecosystems, humans seem to create new ones from scratch. They are like a virus, Zantar continued. They spread and change everything around them. most uncivilized. The Chromith Queen was the first to recognize the real threat. Her billion-mind consciousness watched as the humans expanded across their new world with shocking speed. In just 1 year, they had established 17 separate settlements. They were building roads, factories, and spaceports at a rate that defied logic. This is not normal, the Queen communicated to her hive daughters. The species takes centuries to establish a single outpost. These humans have colonized an entire world in the time it takes us to plan a construction project. More disturbing was how they worked. The Chromith achieved perfection through unity, every member of the hive working toward the same goal. Humans seemed to work through chaos. They argued, disagreed, and went in different directions. Yet, somehow, they got things done faster than any species in the galaxy. Within 5 years, the human presence had spread to 17 different worlds. They didn't ask permission. They didn't negotiate with the local powers. They simply arrived, set up colonies, and began changing everything. The 3 great powers held their first joint council in 10,000 years. They are pests, declared Lord Cuthbert. They infest worlds like parasites, corrupting the natural order with their primitive ways. Greed pulsed Zontor. They must be contained before they spread further. Their chaotic influence is disturbing the harmony of the galaxy. The Chromith Queen's thoughts were darker. They are not just pests. They are dangerous. Watch how they adapt and change. Each colony is different from the last. They learn from every mistake and improve constantly. But the other 2 powers were not worried. How could such a primitive species threaten civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millions of years? They decided to send a message. The Chromith Queen dispatched her newest dreadnought, the Perfect Unity, to the human colony of New Terra. The ship was 3 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could crack planets, and crewed by 10,000 Chromith warriors sharing a single mind. The message was simple: leave or be destroyed. Commander Hyanwu received the ultimatum while standing in the command center of New Terra's orbital station. The alien ship hung in space like a dark moon, its weapons trained on the human colony below. "Sir, they're demanding we evacuate all human settlements and return to Earth," reported Communications Officer Minho. "They say we're contaminating their galaxy." Hyanwu looked at the enemy ship on the screen. It was beautiful in its terrible perfection. Every line was precise, every weapon perfectly placed, represented millions of years of advanced civilization and unlimited power. Then he looked at his own fleet. 12 human ships built from scrap metal and powered by fusion reactors. They were ugly, patched together, and barely functional. But they were human. "Send them our reply," Hyanwu ordered. "Tell them we didn't come here to leave." The battle that followed lasted 6 hours. The Chromith dreadnought was faster, stronger, and more advanced in every way. Its weapons could fire through dimensions. Its shields could stop anything the galaxy had ever seen. But the Chromith had never fought humans before. Tay-Min led the attack in a converted cargo ship loaded with mining charges. Instead of fighting the alien ship directly, he used an old mining technique. He detonated the charges near the enemy vessel, creating a debris field that disrupted their sensors. So Young had rigged the human ships with equipment that shouldn't have worked. She took components from mining equipment, communications arrays, even kitchen appliances to create new weapons that the aliens couldn't predict or counter. The killing blow came from a damaged human destroyer that couldn't even fire its main guns. Captain Dongwu, thinking like a human instead of a warrior, rammed his ship into the enemy vessel at full speed. Both ships were destroyed. But the Perfect Unity was gone. The Chromith Queen felt the death of 10,000 of her children like a knife in her mind. It was impossible. Her perfect ship, her perfect crew, destroyed by primitive humans using crude tactics and improvised weapons for the first time in her long life. The Queen felt something she had never experienced before. Fear. The galaxy had just learned that the Pests could bite back. The news of the perfect Unity's destruction spread across the galaxy like wildfire. For the first time in millions of years, a primitive species had defeated one of the great powers. The three civilizations that had ruled the galaxy could no longer ignore the human threat. Lord Kethver of the Vorthok Empire called for an emergency council. His crystal body pulsed with colors that showed his anger and fear. "These humans are more dangerous than we thought," he declared. "They do not fight like civilized beings. They use chaos as a weapon." The Nexari Collective's leader, Santori, agreed. His energy form crackled with electric fury. "They corrupt everything they touch. Now they have proven they can destroy our finest ships. We must act before they spread further." The Chromath Queen's billion-mind consciousness was still reeling from the loss of her children. "I have felt their deaths," she said, her voice carrying the weight of grief and rage. "These humans do not just kill. They adapt. They learn. They become stronger with each battle." For the first time in galactic history, the three great powers formed an alliance. They called it the Purity Alliance, dedicated to preserving the ordered galaxy from human chaos. Their solution was simple: build a wall around human space that nothing could cross. The construction took 2 years. Massive barrier stations were built at every jump point leading to human territory. Each station was the size of a moon, armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. The barrier created an energy field that made faster-than-light travel impossible. The humans were trapped in a box of 17 star systems. The galaxy's leader sat back and waited for the primitive species to run out of resources and collapse. They made their second mistake. Cut off from expansion, humanity did what it had always done when faced with limits. They found a way around them. But this time, they didn't just find a way around the barrier. They used it to become something new. Dr. Ji-hoon was working in his laboratory on New Terra when he made the discovery that would change everything. The middle-aged scientist had spent his life studying how species adapt to their environment. Now, he was studying how humans were adapting to being trapped. "So Young, you need to see this," he called to the chief engineer. He had been working on captured alien technology for months, trying to understand how it worked. "What is it, Doctor?" So Young asked, looking up from the chromath weapons she was studying. "I've been analyzing our genetic changes since we arrived in this sector," Ji-hoon explained. "Humans are evolving. It's not just biologically, but technologically. We're not just using alien technology, we're becoming part of it." So Young frowned. "What do you mean?" "Look at your brother Tamin," Ji-hoon said. "He's been interfacing with alien flight systems for 2 years. His brain patterns have changed. He's not just piloting alien ships, he's thinking like them while still thinking like a human." It was true. Tamin had become something new when he connected to alien technology. His mind could bridge the gap between human intuition and alien logic. He could feel what the machines were thinking and respond in ways that no pure human or pure alien could manage. "We're not just adapting to the technology," Ji-hoon continued, "making it adapt to us. Every piece of alien equipment we capture becomes more human-like, more unpredictable, more dangerous." Sa-young realized what this meant. "We're not just trapped in here, we're evolving in here, getting stronger." "Sickly," Ji-hoon said. "The barrier isn't containing us, it's creating pressure, and pressure makes diamonds." The first sign of how much humans had changed came when the Vorthok decided to test their defenses. Lord Kethwer sent a fleet of his newest crystal ships to probe human space. These ships were special. They could phase through normal matter, becoming ghost-like and untouchable. The Vorthok were confident that primitive humans had no defense against phase technology. They were wrong. Sergeant Minho was a former mining engineer who had joined the military after the Chromath attack. He was working on asteroid mining equipment when the Vorthok fleet appeared. As he watched the enemy ships phase through the outer defenses, his mining experience gave him an idea. They can phase through matter, he told his team, but they can't phase through gravity. Minho had spent years using gravity anchors to move asteroids. The equipment created artificial gravity, fields that could grab and hold massive objects. If the Vorthok ships wanted to attack, they would have to become solid to fire their weapons. We can't touch them when they're phased, Minho explained, but we can make them want to be solid. His plan was simple, but brilliant. The humans would let the Vorthok ships get close, then activate gravity anchors at the moment the aliens tried to fire. The artificial gravity would force the ships back into normal space, where human weapons could reach them. It worked perfectly. The Vorthok fleet phased through the outer defenses and moved toward the human colonies. When they tried to attack, the gravity anchors activated. The crystal ships were yanked back into normal space, their phase technology useless. Human missiles, modified with alien technology, tore through the Vorthok fleet. The survivors fled back to their own space, carrying news of another impossible human victory. Commander Hyeon-woo watched the battle from his command center. Starter So-young had designed the weapons. His son Taemin had coordinated the defense. A former mining engineer had found the solution that defeated phase technology. They keep sending us their best, Hyeon-woo said, and we keep finding ways to beat them. It's not just that we're beating them, So-young replied. We're learning from them. Every battle makes us stronger. She was right. The captured Vorthok technology was already being studied and improved. Human engineers were combining crystal phase technology with their own gravity systems. The result was something neither species could have created alone. The Purity's alliance watched these developments with growing alarm. The humans were not just surviving in their cage, they were thriving. Each alien attack made them stronger and more dangerous. They are like a virus, Zonta reported to the Alliance Council, but not a virus that destroys, a virus that changes everything it touches. The Chromath Queen's analysis was even more disturbing. They do not just adapt to our technology, They make our technology adapt to them. They are turning our own weapons against us. Lord Kethwer was furious. How can such a primitive species defeat our most advanced weapons? Because they are not fighting like a primitive species, the Queen replied. They are fighting like something new, something that combines the best of primitive and advanced. They take our perfection and add their chaos to it. The Alliance leaders realized they had made a terrible mistake. The barrier was not containing the humans. T was creating something worse than they had ever imagined. Inside human space, the changes were accelerating. Dr. Ji-hoon's research showed that humans were evolving at an unprecedented rate. Not just individuals like Taemin, but entire communities were developing new abilities. Engineers could instinctively understand alien technology. Pilots could interface with any ship. Scientists could think in ways that bridged human and alien logic. The barrier had created a pressure cooker that was forging humanity into something new. We're not the same species that arrived here 5 years ago, Ji-hoon told the colony leaders. We're becoming something that has never existed before. So-young had been working on the most ambitious project yet. She was combining technology from all 3 alien species with human innovation. The result was a new type of ship that could phase like the Vorthok, travel like the Nexari, and coordinate like the Chromath. The aliens think they're containing us, she told her father, but they're actually creating us. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every barrier makes us more creative. Kamen was leading test flights of the new hybrid ships. K's enhanced mind could control systems that no pure human could operate. These ships don't just fly, he reported. They think. They adapt. They learn. The first test flight was a success beyond anyone's imagination. The hybrid ship didn't just combine alien technologies. made them work together in ways that seemed impossible. The ship could phase through matter while maintaining faster-than-light travel. It could coordinate with other ships while remaining completely unpredictable. Commander Hyanwu realized what was happening. "They tried to cage us," he said. "But cages don't contain humans. They forge us into something harder." The Purity Alliance was about to learn that their greatest fear was coming true. The humans were no longer just pests. They were becoming something that could challenge the established order of the galaxy, and they were almost ready to break free. The Purity Alliance was running out of options. 2 fleets had been destroyed by the humans, and their containment barrier was only making the problem worse. The 3 great powers needed a solution that would end the human threat once and for all. Lord Kethfer made the suggestion that would change everything. "We need specialists," he told the Alliance Council. "Warriors who understand warfare in ways we do not." Santar's energy form flickered with uncertainty. "You speak of the Shadari, but they are mercenaries. They fight for payment, not principle. They are also the most effective killers in the galaxy," Cathfa replied. "They have never failed to eliminate a target." Chroma Queen's billion-mind consciousness weighed the decision. "The Shadari are dangerous. They sell their services to the highest bidder. What if the humans can pay them more?" "Impossible," Kethfer said. "What could a primitive species offer that we cannot?" The decision was made. The Purity Alliance would hire the Shadari to eliminate the human pest problem permanently. The Shadari were unlike any other species in the galaxy. They had no homeworld, no central government, and no permanent alliances. They lived on massive fleet ships that traveled between the stars, selling their services to whoever could afford them. They were perfect soldiers, genetically modified over thousands of years to be the ultimate warriors. They felt no fear, no pain, and no mercy. Their emotions had been bred out of them, leaving only cold efficiency and absolute dedication to completing their contracts. Fleet Master Vactor received the Alliance's offer while his ships were refueling in neutral space. The contract was simple: eliminate all human presence in the galaxy. The payment was more than the Shadari had ever been offered for a single job. "Acceptable," Vactor replied. "The human pests will be exterminated within 1 standard year." The Shadari fleet moved toward human space with mechanical precision. 200 ships, each one a masterpiece of military engineering. The fleet carried 50,000 warriors, all trained from birth to kill without hesitation. But the Shadari were also professionals. Before beginning their attack, they studied their targets. What they discovered about humans was unlike anything they had encountered before. "These beings are illogical," reported Sub-Commander Nexal. "They fight when they should surrender. They adapt when they should break. They create chaos and call it strategy." Fleet Master Vactor reviewed the battle reports from the Vorthok. "In Chromath, defeats. Show me their tactical patterns." "That is the problem, Fleet Master. They have no patterns. Each battle is fought differently. They use new strategies every time." This was disturbing. The Shadari succeeded because they could predict and counter any enemy tactic. But humans seemed to make up new tactics during the battle itself. "Perhaps direct study is required," Vactor decided. "We will capture some of these humans and analyze their thinking." The first Shadari raid targeted a human mining station on the edge of their territory. The attack was perfectly planned and executed. The station's defenses were overwhelmed in minutes, and several human prisoners were taken. Captain Dongwu was among those captured. K had been commanding a supply convoy when the Shadari struck. Now he found himself in a sterile cell aboard an alien warship, facing creatures that looked like death itself. The Shadari interrogation was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They didn't torture their prisoners. We simply asked questions with the same mechanical precision they brought to everything else. Why do you fight when victory is impossible? Fleet Master Vactor asked Dongwu. 'Cause impossible just means difficult, Dongwu replied. Inhumans are good at difficult. Your species lacks the technology to defeat us. Your ships are primitive. Your weapons are crude. Yet you continue to resist. Dongwu studied his captor. The Shadari was perfectly built for war, but there was something missing. You don't understand, do you? Explain. You fight to win. We fight to survive. There's a difference. The conversation that followed lasted for hours. Himself explaining human nature to a being that had never experienced doubt, fear, or hope. The Shadari asks precise questions about human tactics, strategy, and motivation. You adapt your technology during battle, Vactar observed. This is inefficient. Proper weapons should be tested and perfected before use. Okay. Proper weapons are predictable, Dongwu replied. We make it up as we go along because you can't plan for something that doesn't exist yet. This creates weakness. Untested systems fail, sometimes. But when they work in ways you never expected. The interrogation revealed something that disturbed Vactor. The humans weren't just surviving through luck or accident, or thriving because of their apparent weaknesses. Okay? Their chaos was actually a strength that made them unpredictable and adaptable. Dr. Yunji arrived at the Shadari fleet 3 days later. The human psychologist had volunteered for the most dangerous mission of her career: negotiate with the galaxy's most feared killers. I want to talk to your leader, she told the Shadari guards who captured her ship. You are a prisoner, they replied. Prisoners do not make demands. I'm not a prisoner. I'm a negotiator. There's a difference. Jonji was brought before Fleet Master Vactor in his command chamber. The Shadari leader studied her with cold, calculating eyes. Akia, you have come to offer surrender terms, he said. I've come to offer you a job, Yunji replied. The statement was so unexpected that Vactor actually paused, explained. You're the galaxy's best warriors, Akala, but you're also the galaxy's most limited warriors. You can only do what you've been programmed to do. We are perfect soldiers. Perfect soldiers for an imperfect galaxy. Tell me, when was the last time you learned something new? The question struck at the heart of the Shadari's greatest weakness. They were perfect, but perfection meant they never changed. They had been using the same tactics for thousands of years because those tactics always worked. We do not need to learn, Vactor said. We are already superior. Superior to what? The enemies you've been fighting are as predictable as you are, okay? They use the same strategies, the same technologies, the same thinking they've used for millions of years. Yanji gestured toward the holding cell where Captain Dongwu was kept. That man has been in your custody for 3 days. In that time, he's probably figured out 6 different ways to escape, 4 ways to disable your ship, and 2 ways to turn your own weapons against you. Impossible. Our security is perfect. Your security is predictable. And predictable means vulnerable to humans. Vactor accessed the security monitors. To his shock, he saw that Dongwu was indeed working on something. The human had somehow removed components from the cell's life support system and was building what looked like a communication device. How did he obtain those materials? Vactor demanded. He didn't obtain them. He made them. From parts of the cell you didn't think were parts. This was the moment that changed everything. Vactor realized that the Shadari's perfection was actually a limitation. They could only see what they had been programmed to see. Humans could see possibilities that didn't exist yet. Tia, what are you offering? He asked. A partnership. You teach us about warfare. We teach you about adaptation. Together, we become something. Neither of us could be alone. The Shadari do not form partnerships. We complete contracts. Then, here's a new contract. Instead of destroying us, help us become better. In exchange, we'll help you become something more than perfect soldiers. What could you offer that we do not already possess? Purpose beyond killing, growth beyond perfection, the ability to become something new. The negotiation that followed was unlike anything in galactic history. Kanji offered the Shadari something they had never had, the chance to evolve, not just as individuals, but as a species. Your clients hired you to eliminate a problem, she explained. But they didn't understand what the problem really was. They thought humans were just another species to be destroyed. They were wrong. Explain. We're not just another species. We're a catalyst. We make everything around us change and grow. The Vorthok, the Nexari, the Chromath, they've been the same for millions of years. They're stagnant, dying without knowing it. And humans, we're life, we're growth, we're change, and we can offer you the same thing. Factor considered this. The Shadari had indeed been the same for thousands of years. They were perfect, but they were also static. They never grew, never changed, never became anything more than what they already were. What do you propose? Cancel your contract with the Purity Alliance. Join us instead. Help us break free from their containment, and we'll help you break free from your limitations. The Alliance will not accept cancellation of our contract. Then we'll deal with the Alliance together. You know warfare. We know adaptation. Combined, we can handle anything they throw at us. The decision took 3 days. Factor consulted with his sub-commanders, analyzed the tactical situation, and considered the long-term implications. On the 4th day, he gave his answer. The Shadari accept your proposal. Our contract with the Purity Alliance is terminated. We will assist humanity in exchange for the knowledge you offer. The alliance between humans and Shadari sent shockwaves through the galaxy, the universes. Most feared mercenaries had switched sides, choosing the primitive humans over the advanced civilizations that had hired them. The alliance between humans and Shadari shattered the Purity Alliance's confidence. For the first time in millions of years, the 3 great powers faced an enemy they could not predict or control. Panic spread through their highest councils as reports came in of joint human Shadari raids breaking through their barrier stations. The Nexari Collective was the first to break ranks. Saunter appeared before the human leadership in the form of crackling energy, his usual arrogance replaced by desperate fear. We offer you terms, he announced to the assembled human leaders. Join the Galactic Order. Accept your place among civilized species. In return, we will grant you 3 star systems and full technological exchange. President J1, newly elected leader of the Human Colonial Federation, stood to address the energy being. At 55, he had been a diplomat before the alien wars began. Now, he represented a species that had been pushed to the edge of extinction and emerged stronger. You misunderstand our position, J1 replied calmly. You think we want your place in the galaxy? We don't. Then, what do you want? Santerre asked, his energy form flickering with confusion. We want our own place. We want the freedom to grow, to change, to become whatever we're capable of becoming. You offer us a cage with better decorations. We reject your cage. The rejection sent shockwaves through the remaining alliance. The Vorthok Empire and Chromath Collective realized that negotiation was impossible. The humans would never accept the ordered galaxy that had existed for millions of years. Lord Kethver called for the final solution. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be contained. They cannot be bought. There is only one option remaining. Chromath Queen's billion-mind consciousness agreed. Total elimination, not just of their ships and colonies, but of their very existence. We must erase them from reality itself. The 2 remaining powers began construction of the most terrible weapon the galaxy had ever seen. deep in the void nebula, far from any inhabited system. They built the reality engine. The weapon could reach across space and time, racing its targets from all possible timelines. It took them 2 years to complete. During that time, human Chidari forces continued their attacks on the various stations. Each victory brought them closer to breaking free from their prison. But the aliens were buying time for their ultimate weapon, engineer So Young. Now, 40, in leading humanity's research division, discovered the reality engine through captured alien communications. The discovery filled her with a cold dread she had never felt before. "Dad, we have a problem," she told Commander Hyan Wu, now an admiral commanding the combined human fleet. "They're building something that can erase us from existence, not just kill us, delete us from reality itself." Hyan Wu studied the intelligence reports. The weapon was beyond anything humans had encountered. It could reach through space and time, targeting not just humans, but the very possibility of humans ever existing. "How long do we have?" he asked. 6 months, maybe less. When they activate it, every human who ever lived will simply cease to be. So Young had been preparing for this moment her entire career. She had studied every alien technology, reverse engineered every captured system, and pushed human science beyond its limits. Now she had to accomplish the impossible, save humanity from erasure. "I've been working on something," she told her father. "Call it the Pandora Protocol." The protocol was her masterpiece of paranoid preparation. Hidden colonies in pocket dimensions, mobile habitats that existed between realities, backup populations stored in digital format. Even if the reality engine succeeded, some humans would survive. "How many?" Hyan Wu asked. "Maybe 1 million, maybe less, but enough to restart if everything else fails." The protocol required resources and technology that humanity barely possessed. But So Young had learned to think like her species when faced with impossible odds. Make the impossible possible. She worked with Chidari engineers to create dimension-folding technology. She collaborated with human scientists to develop consciousness transfer systems. She pushed every available resource toward one goal, ensuring that humanity would survive even total reality erasure. Captain Taman is now enhanced beyond normal. Human limits volunteered to command the most dangerous part of the mission. The experimental ship Resilience would carry a seed population into a dimensional fold, hiding them between realities where the reality engine couldn't reach. "It's a one-way trip," So Young warned her brother. "If the engine works, you'll be all that's left of humanity. Then I'll make sure I'm enough," Taman replied. The Resilience was unlike any ship ever built. Its combined human engineering with Chidari military technology and captured alien science. The ship could exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, making it nearly impossible to detect or destroy as the reality engine neared completion. Human and Chidari forces launched desperate attacks on alien infrastructure. They knew they couldn't stop the weapon, but they could buy time for the Pandora Protocol to be completed. Fleet Stavoctor led the final assault on the Void Nebula. His combined fleet fought through layers of alien defenses, each battle costing thousands of ships and lives. But they reached their target just as the reality engine powered up. "Target acquired," Vacta reported, beginning attack run. Battle around the reality engine was the largest in galactic history. Millions of ships fought in a space barely larger than a solar system. The aliens were desperate to protect their ultimate weapon. The humans and Chidari were equally desperate to destroy it. In the end, neither side achieved their goal. The reality engine fired, but not at full power. Vacta's fleet had damaged its targeting systems, causing the weapon to fire wild across the galaxy. The result was catastrophic for humanity. Entire star systems vanished from existence. Trillions of humans died as they were erased from reality itself. The proud colonies that had spread across 17 worlds simply ceased to be. But the engine had missed some targets. The damaged targeting systems created gaps in the erasure field. Hidden in those gaps, the Pandora Protocol activated the captain. Taman felt the reality engines wave past through normal space. Around him, stars disappeared as entire regions of the galaxy were deleted from existence. But the resilience remained safe in its dimensional fold, protected by technology that existed between realities. Damage report, he called to his crew. We're intact, Captain, reported his science officer. But we're detecting massive reality distortions across the galaxy. It looks like they succeeded in erasing most of human space. Kaiman felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. If the reports were accurate, he might be commanding the last free humans in existence. The responsibility was crushing, but he was his father's son. Send a message on all frequencies, he ordered. This is Captain Taman of the human ship Resilience. If anyone can hear this, you are not alone. Humanity survives. The message spread across the galaxy, reaching hidden colonies and scattered survivors. In pocket dimensions, backup populations began awakening from digital storage. Today, in mobile habitats, humans emerged from hiding to rebuild their civilization. The aliens had succeeded in destroying most of humanity, but they had made a critical error. They had underestimated human paranoia and the lengths humans would go to ensure survival. Dr. Ji-hoon, surviving in a hidden research station, made a disturbing discovery as he studied the reality engines. Effects. The weapon hadn't just erased humans from some timelines. It had changed the survivors who remained. We're not the same species anymore, he reported to the scattered human leadership. The reality distortions have altered us at a fundamental level. We exist partially outside normal space-time now. The implications were staggering. Surviving. Humans could move between dimensions, strike anywhere in the galaxy instantly, and exist in ways that normal physics couldn't explain. President J1, miraculously surviving in a backup facility, dressed the scattered remnants of humanity. They tried to erase us from existence, he said. They failed. But in trying to destroy us, they've made us into something new, something they can't predict or control. The Purity Alliance had achieved a Pyrrhic victory. They had destroyed most of humanity, that the survivors were now capable of striking back in ways that defied all understanding. Captain Taman brought the Resilience out of its dimensional hiding place 6 months after the reality engine fired. The ship emerged into normal space near the Vorthok capital world, appearing without warning in the middle of their most heavily defended system. This is Captain Taman. To all alien forces, he broadcast on open frequencies. You wanted to know what humans are capable of when you push us too far. You're about to find out. The message that followed was simple but terrifying. You missed some. The galaxy was about to learn that surviving humans were far more dangerous than the original population had ever been. The reality engine had failed to erase humanity. Instead, it had created something new, post-human entities that existed beyond the normal laws of reality. The war was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The galaxy burned, but not with the fires of destruction. It burned with the light of transformation. Across 1,000 star systems, the impossible was happening. Species that had remained unchanged for millions of years were suddenly evolving, growing, and becoming something new. Admiral Dongwu materialized his fleet in the heart of Vorthok space without warning. His ships phased in and out of reality like ghosts, striking at targets that should have been impossible to reach. The crystal beings watched in terror as their perfect defenses crumbled before weapons that existed partially outside normal space. Lord, Kethfer, Dongwu's voice echoed through the Vorthok capital ship. You tried to erase us from existence. Instead, you freed us from the limitations of existence. We offer you the same freedom. The Vorthok Lord's crystal form pulsed with colors of fear and confusion. What do you want from us? Nothing, Dongwu replied. We want to give you something. Choice was not the answer Cuthbert expected. Explain. For 10 million years, you've been the same. It's perfect crystal beings with perfect technology, following perfect patterns. You've achieved everything your species set out to achieve. What happens next? We continue as we are. Perfection requires no change. Perfection is death, Dongwu said. Growth is life. It's great as life. We offer you the chance to become something more than perfect. We offer you the chance to become alive. The choice was simple, but revolutionary. The Vorthok could remain as they were, static and unchanging, or they could accept human help to evolve beyond their current limitations. Cuthbert was the first to make the decision. Show us, he said. The transformation that followed defied every law of physics the galaxy knew. Human technology, enhanced by their new post-reality nature, began merging with Vorthok crystal structures. The result was beings of living light that could think with crystal precision while feeling with human emotion. I understand now, Cuthbert said, his new form blazing with possibilities he had never imagined. We were not perfect. We were finished. There is a difference. The process spread throughout the Vorthok Empire. Ancient crystal beings chose transformation over stagnation. Those who joined the human cause became something neither species could have achieved alone. Entities that combined alien perfection with human growth potential. The Nexari collective faced the same choice when So-Young appeared in their energy dimension. Her new post-human form could exist as both matter and energy, bridging the gap between physical and digital existence. We come in peace, she told the assembled Nexari leaders. The same peace we offered at first contact. The peace that means we intend to stay and grow and change everything around us. Xantar, the Nexari leader, flickered with uncertainty. You offer us corruption, chaos, the destruction of our ordered existence. I offer you life, So-Young replied. Your ordered existence is a beautiful prison. You've spent millions of years as patterns of energy, never growing, never changing, never becoming anything more than what you already are. We are pure energy. We have transcended physical limitations. You've transcended physical growth, but you've also stopped growing entirely. When was the last time a Nexari learned something that surprised them? The question struck at the heart of Nexari's stagnation. They had achieved their ultimate goal of becoming pure energy, but in doing so, they had stopped evolving, stopped learning, stopped becoming anything new. What do you propose? Xantar asked. Partnership. Merge your energy patterns with our post-human consciousness. Become something that can exist as energy while still growing and changing. The merger between humans and Nexari created beings of incredible power. They could travel at light speed while maintaining the ability to learn and adapt. Became live-in information that could process the entire galaxy while still experiencing wonder at new discoveries. The Chrometh Collective presented the greatest challenge. The Queen's billion-mind consciousness had created perfect unity, but at the cost of individual growth. Dr. Ji-hoon approached them not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. Your unity is beautiful, he told the Queen, but it's also a cage. Every member of your species thinks the same thoughts, makes the same decisions, follows the same patterns. Unity is strength, the Queen replied through her billion voices. Individual thought creates chaos. Individual thought creates growth. Your perfect unity has made you perfect prisoners of your own success. Ji-hoon offered something the Chrometh had never imagined, the ability to maintain their connection while developing individual consciousness. Human post-reality technology could link minds without erasing personality. The first Chrometh drone to accept individual consciousness was a scout named Kickstar. For the first time in his life, he thought a thought that was his alone. The experience was terrifying and wonderful. I myself, he said, afterwards, carrying the weight of revolutionary discovery. I am part of the whole, but I am also separate. I am unique. The transformation spread through the Crommeth like wildfire. Drones who had never experienced individual thought suddenly discovered personal identity. The hive mind became a network of individuals who chose to work together rather than beings forced into unity. But not every species accepted the human offer. The remaining members of the Purity Alliance retreated to their most fortified worlds, determined to preserve the old order at any cost. President J1 addressed them from his new capital, a city that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions. You can hide in your fortresses, he said. You can maintain your perfect order in isolation. But the galaxy has moved beyond you. The old galaxy was indeed dying. In its place, something unprecedented was emerging. Species that had been enemies for millions of years were now working together, combining their strengths while maintaining their unique identities. Tammin commanded fleets that included transformed Vorthok, evolved Nexari, and individualized Crommeth. His ships could travel through dimensions, exist as energy or matter, and coordinate through shared consciousness while maintaining individual creativity. The old powers tried to preserve order by preventing change. He reported to the human leadership, "We're creating order by embracing change." The transformation was not limited to technology or politics. Entire worlds were changing as different species shared their knowledge and perspectives. Planets that had been sterile became gardens. Star systems that had been isolated became connected. The galaxy itself was evolving. Dr. Ji-hoon made the final breakthrough during his research into galactic evolution. He discovered that humans had not just changed other species, they had changed the fundamental nature of the galaxy itself. We're not just a species, he announced to the Galactic Council. It's now composed of representatives from dozens of evolving civilizations. We are a catalyst. We don't just adapt to our environment, we make our environment more adaptable. The discovery explained everything. Humans were indeed like a virus, but not a destructive one. They were an evolutionary virus that spread the ability to grow and change. Every species they contacted became more adaptable, more creative, more alive. The old galaxy was dying, Ji-hoon continued. Not from war or disaster, but from perfection. Every species had achieved their goals and stopped growing. He brought back the ability to become something new. The former Purity Alliance leaders, watching from their isolated strongholds, finally understood what they had unleashed. They had tried to contain a species that existed to spread change. The very act of fighting humans had spread human influence. Throughout the galaxy, 1,000 years later, the galaxy was unrecognizable. The rigid order that had lasted for millions of years was gone, replaced by something dynamic and unpredictable. Species evolved constantly, technology advanced daily, and new forms of life emerged regularly. It was chaotic. It was dangerous. It was sometimes violent. It was alive, so young, now existing as a pattern of consciousness that spanned multiple realities, reflected on the changes. They called us pests because we wouldn't fit into their categories, she mused. They were right. We don't fit. We break categories and build new ones. The old archives contained humanity's first message to the galaxy. We come in peace. Galaxy had learned too late what human peace really meant. Humans intended to stay, to grow, to change, and to help everything around them do the same. In the end, the pests had indeed become the galaxy's most dangerous weapon. Not a weapon of destruction, but of transformation. They had not conquered the galaxy, They had liberated it from the prison of perfection. The galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time in millions of years, that was exactly what it needed. Change had come to stay, and the universe was finally growing again.